Are back, guys. What an amazing session by Ariel. Give it up for him in the chat. Show him some love. I think it was very insightful. I think the session was very practical, and I'm sure a lot of SMBs and agencies will take a lot of good things back from that session. Also, show some love to Brent as well, our superstar host, who has endless energy and he just keeps on going and going, right? So now we are sort of moving this event forward and taking you through another insightful session for which we have two amazing speakers. But before we move on, just a few quick announcements. First is of the leaderboard. So we have an engagement leaderboard for this event. The more you engage, the more you move up to the leaderboard, the more points you will have, and the more chances you have of winning amazing prizes. And then we also have the Easter egg activity that you have to submit by 2 p.m. Eastern time today. So make sure that you fill in that document with all the Easter eggs that you can find on the stage, on the lobby, and all the different sections of the event. So make sure that you fill that document as quickly as possible and submit that by 2 p.m. Eastern time. And apart from that, yeah, just keep on engaging in the comment section, ask questions. Let us know what you think about the event, about the sessions, and your feedback is obviously highly appreciated. Moving on to the session, we have first of all Miriam Schwab, who was here yesterday as well. So welcome back, Miriam, who is the head of WordPress at Elementor. Hi, Miriam. And
Hey,
then accompanying her is Oz Nimrod, who is head of marketing at Suite, and he has been passionately involved with WordPress and products and Elementor as well. So thank you so much, Oz and Miriam. And the topic that we are going to cover today is the agencies of tomorrow and how AI is sort of shaping how we manage our businesses going forward in the future. So Oz, the floor is yours. Miriam, best of luck. So
thanks.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this session where we are going to talk about the agency of tomorrow and how AI is reshaping the way that agencies are managing and will manage their business. Before we dive in, with your permission, a short introduction. Together with me, I have Miriam Schwab, head of WordPress at Elementor. Miriam?
Hi, everyone. My name is Miriam Schwab. I'm head of WordPress at Elementor. My position means that I'm a liaison between Elementor and the broader WordPress community. But in the past, as part of my career path, I actually founded and managed a WordPress development agency for 13 years. So I experienced a lot, well, basically everything that you can experience as an agency owner, from client communications, from the challenges of building, from invoicing, from sales. And I have a lot of empathy for agencies. And I'm excited to talk about where agencies are at today and also what the future holds for agencies in this era of AI. And that's what me and Oz are going to be speaking to you about today.
Thank you, Miriam. And my name is Oz. I'm the head of marketing of Suite by Elementor. Just a few words about Suite for you to get to know because you haven't heard of it before. Suite is a new product being built by Elementor. Suite is dedicated to understanding the businesses of web creators and solving their challenges. And as such, we have been asking ourselves for the past few months, what's keeping web creators up at night? Really to understand not only their business processes, but what their challenges are, and do we have a way to help them? And we didn't only asked ourselves that question, but we also took action. And we actually interviewed over 200 global web creators to understand their challenges during their business processes and management, and really to see what are their components and what are they perhaps suffering from. So in order for us, before I pass it to Miriam, to understand the agency of tomorrow, we need to understand better the agency of today. Miriam?
So, where are agencies at today? When you are providing services for your clients and building websites or other digital properties for them, what does that mean for you? So, and again, I can totally relate to this. It's very challenging as an agency owner to scale your agency and to build it in a sustainable way. Um, because we're all running after the next project and trying to get it in the door while also building the current projects. And there's not a lot of, security in terms of what will the revenue be next month and things like that. And what are the causes of this kind of like instability or insecurity around managing and building a web agency? So first of all, scaling again, because we have to spend so much time trying to get that next project in order to maintain the business while also working on the current projects. That doesn't give us, we have very limited time and resources to invest in marketing and sales. um, and that of course leads to financial uncertainty because it's one project after the other. There's not recurring, or there is recurring revenue, but let's say the core of the business is these one-off projects. Often there's hassles facing clients. So I know in my agency days, it was very important for us to finish our projects in a timely manner. Why? Because then payment came in at predictable times. However, if payment was tied to milestones and the client was, taking their time, or even they also have limited resources and they couldn't be as responsive as we wanted, then this again affects financial uncertainty. And we want to streamline that as much as possible. And I spent so much time working on processes and workflows to improve that, and got to a pretty good point. And yet still you're always in this kind of cycle of trying to keep the project moving forward as smoothly as possible, as quickly as possible, to get that revenue in, to move on to the next project and give it the attention it needs. Um, and that also comes to workflow and inefficiencies. Agencies, unless they're very, very large scale ones, which I would say that's like, there's a spectrum of agencies. There's like the solopreneurs up to the very large agencies. But if you're somewhere in between, then you're trying to be everything when it might not be your skill set, right? You end up as the agency owner wearing many hats. You're wearing the sales hat and the marketing hat and the project management hat, even if you have a team. And I had a team in my agency. You end up doing a lot of things a lot of the time, and you're trying to keep the processes smooth, but like maybe you're using different tools that don't necessarily work together so well. And just there can be workflow inefficiencies, and it's also hard to invest in that, again, because of the lack of time and resources to invest in, I mentioned marketing and sales, but also even internal processes. So running an agency is an amazing thing. And I did it for 13 years because it was amazing. And, I was always learning and developing, but it is challenging to scale an agency just because of the structure of most agencies. And it's no one's fault. It just is what it is. But that's where it is today. Ahmed, it's not just your small business problem. It's everyone's problem. It's very common. And like Oz said, the Sweet team interviewed over 200 agency owners, and what I'm describing, it wasn't. I also thought, is it just me? It wasn't just me. It's not just you. It's recurring story. And let's look at some of the stories that people shared with us. So these are real testimonies from, or like quotes from people that were interviewed, keeping their private personal details, private to protect their privacy. But these are direct quotes. So this particular agency has 4 clients that are recurring, which is amazing, right? As an agency, you want that. But 4 clients still isn't a lot, and it's hard to sustain a business based on that. And M says, with one-time projects, I need to keep finding new clients. I don't want to be constantly chasing people down. And that is a lot of our time when running agencies. We're chasing people down, chasing down new projects, chasing down existing clients to get back to us when we need them to get back to us, chasing them down to make their payment. Again, something I learned running the agency. It's not necessarily that they didn't mean to pay, but they also, you have to follow up, and all of that takes time. Let's look at another testimony. For almost a month now, I don't have many clients this summer. I have to wait till September. Sometimes you've got gaps in the calendar, so it feels a bit risky, and you can't predict income. So here's another example of when income lacks the predictability that we would want in like a sustainable, scalable business. If your business is seasonal, If you work for, let's say, I don't know, fashion lines, and there's particular seasons where they're, they have new collections, I'm guessing, yeah, but this is an example, or hotels, and they, so those types of customers are going to be more active around the seasons where they have peak business. But then when they don't, or when everyone goes on vacation, let's say in August and, July and August in Europe, very often that's the case, or around Christmas, New Year's, business slows down. And that means as an agency, you have to take into account that there are going to be months where you have very low business and very low revenue. And then that just, again, makes it challenging to sustain the business. So another angle to the challenges of running an agency are the fragmented tools and workflow inefficiencies, which I kind of touched on, but let's look at it further. Scaling further means more tools, more complexity. It's hard to keep everything running smoothly. So I remember my agency, I loved finding tools that helped us run things more efficiently. And there were amazing tools. But what happened was you're piling one tool on top of the other. I think at one point I analyzed like all of the different like SaaS types tools, communication tools, sales tools, whatever it was that we were using, and it was like 20. And we were like a small agency. Every additional tool needs additional headspace, right? You want to learn how to use it in the optimum way. So that's another thing you want to try to invest in, again, which is challenging. And also you want to make sure that the information that you're gathering across these tools is unified, and you have like a holistic picture of what's going on in the business with your customers. And that means tying tools together, which is sometimes challenging and sometimes clunky. And so, you're trying to create better workflows. You're using these tools which help, but the more tools you're using, you actually add a certain level of complexity, which adds a different type of challenge. Juggling multiple disconnected tools for project management, client comms, billing, and site ops leads to inefficiency and wasted time. So this is another example of someone saying that, again, they're trying to run their business in the best way possible, trying to provide the best service possible, finding tools that help deliver on that for them. And yet, even if a tool's amazing, it's another tool, it's another thing, it's more headspace, more complexity, more potential points of failure, and more fragmented information across the business, which creates kind of a weakness in the business. The tools I use are okay, but they're too general and not designed for website creation. So there's something in the UX that's missing. So I think most of us, or all of us here at this event, we're in the web creation space in some way, whether we're building websites, managing websites, hosting websites, but we're in this space. And if you've looked out there for tools, you'll find a lot of tools that are great, that serve a lot of needs, but they're not specifically built for web creators. In other industries, there are tools that are specifically created for that vertical. So you have like real estate, CRMs, and for investors and different types of verticals, they have their own tooling. But really, as far as we can tell, there aren't tools specifically dedicated to web creators that totally understand and empathize with the needs of web creators, which are unique. Across businesses, there are a lot of commonalities and a lot of things that are very much the same. And so these types of generic tools can help, but then there are certain things that aren't. When you're providing a service like web creation, like we talked about, there's the one-off projects, there's the ongoing communication, there's the invoicing. Is anyone really addressing those needs with the tool? Not really. So we're kind of cobbling together our own solutions from many fragmented tools, which can be pretty good, but it's not ideal.
Yep.
And of course, client communication, which is a big challenge. I remember that in my web agency days, I would say that I was the CEO of the agency. I'm part CEO, part sales, part marketing, part therapist. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but you often have to talk your clients through things like the blue color. Yes, you'll be okay with the blue, things like that. So there's a lot around client communication and really like being able to communicate in general, but also the practicalities and logistics of client communication. It needs a lot of attention. It needs a significant amount of attention, because the better you're communicating through a project, the smoother the project will be and the better the results, and everyone will come out happier. but communication takes time. So let's say, here's another quote. It takes 2 days to build a website. Good job, E. By the way, that's really fast. But 2 weeks with the client, slow response. This bottleneck means I can't take on new projects quickly, which affects my ability to scale. So this comes to workflow inefficiencies, but here the cause is client communication. Then of course that has an impact on revenue and the scalability and the sustainability of the business. It's hard to overcome that because the client communication needs time and attention so that you can get to the end of the project, so that you can take on the next project. But it's very time consuming. And like we said in the beginning, agency owners, they just have limited time and resources. So it's hard to give it the attention that it needs to help scale a business. I send proposals through Word, invoices through like X, not X, Twitter, like whatever. And client feedback is either through email or Google Docs. It's all over the place, right? I don't know how many people can identify with this, but it's hard to get set up with a workflow around client communication. All of the stages, sending the proposal, approving the proposal, invoicing, the project scope, all of that back and forth. It's hard to have a system that puts it all in one place. And so that also, again, affects scalability, sustainability, etc.
Yep. Thank you,
So
Miriam.
yes. So after all of those pain points, now Oz, we'll talk about so now we all, I think, can more or less identify with what's going on today with agencies doing amazing work, but facing a lot of challenges and struggles. What will this look like tomorrow in this era of AI? So Oz, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We cherry picked the quotes that we brought here, but there were many more, and I can say that the pain is real, right? And these are the pains of web creators, their day to day, and they're not able to really go beyond them. They're not able to release them without the proper solution in place. And we were wondering at Suite and Elementor, how will these pain points of today look tomorrow, considering technology, considering all the latest trends that are happening. And this is what we would like to talk about. And in order to understand that, I would like to discuss the timeline for a second. If we look at 2022, when ChatGPT and other LLMs bursted into our lives and really changed everything, that was a big shift. And then between 2022 to 2025, we saw the rise of AI agents serving SMBs and solopreneurs, and really a lot of AI tools with the aim to facilitate and automate and streamline processes and really make work much easier. And this trend is ever growing and ever evolving, and it's a part of the reason we're here. Today we have what's called the vibe movement. I can only assume some of you heard of vibe coding, vibe marketing, and there are other vibe categories that are coming in. And what we can say is that digital presence is evolving, but it's still professional led. So with all this movement and with all these changes that I bet make some of you professionals think of the future and what's going to happen, we still see and we still predict that the professional landscape, digital landscape, is going to be still professional led. And what we also predict is that between 2025 to 2030, we're going to see the rise of purpose-built AI with autonomous agents and what we would like to call the agency of tomorrow. So in relations to the vibe movement and in general, if today we have vibe coding and vibe marketing and really all of these AI tools and agents that are supposed to make our work seamless, streamlined, and autonomous, tomorrow we expect it to be vibe entrepreneurship and vibe businessing, which is basically managing your business at the comfort of your own home. And this is something that we're seeing even being built at the moment. Basically, the vibe movement, just for those who are not very familiar with it, it's allowing creators to focus on the vibe or the intent of the creation and not necessarily the operational hassle of it. And this is what it's about. So the agency of tomorrow will enable solo professionals to operate with the efficiency and capabilities of a 10-person agency. And how will it look like? So solopreneurs are basically tomorrow's agencies, scaling with tools, advanced automation, and autonomous AI employees. Business processes matter, and more than ever, because competition is going to be fierce and everything needs to be in order. Professionals need to scale revenue, upsells, and other revenue streams. And technology will empower agencies to operate with excellence. Tool must be purpose-built, intuitive, and future-proof. How does it look like today? Well, there are some tools out there today that do serve the purpose of the agency of tomorrow, like Notion and Enso, in case of some of you are using those. And these AI tools are built to facilitate and streamline some of the processes, work processes, and day-to-day processes. There are even more fierce examples, like Artisan. If some of you saw this advertisement somewhere on social media or even live, it's even more bold. And basically what they're saying is hire AI and not humans. We're at the beginning of the trend, so just imagine where would this evolve to and where exactly is the world going to. And this is exactly the point. We want to be ahead of the curve, right? We want to make sure that we are on top and utilize technology to our benefit. Amazing. We did gather a case study with one of the people we interviewed that accepted our invitation to follow his business process. This is everything you see is a real case. Of course, the name and identity were manipulated to keep their privacy. Miriam, would you like to jump in?
Sorry, I'm muted. So yes, let's look at Raphael, who's obviously not his name, an agency owner, and take a look at how he manages a lead that comes into his agency. Which, by the way, already getting a lead into your agency is a great thing. They're coming with intent, and you want to really capture this lead in the best way possible and impress them and answer their needs. So Raphael got a lead through his website. I'm interested in building a website. Can you please help me? And he and the client had a first discovery call where he gathered information. What is the context? What is the pain that they're trying to solve? The pain is a hugely important part of any project because you want to work with the client to solve that pain through their website as much as possible. What are their goals, etc. He gathered all that information and had a good call, but then sent a proposal that confused the lead. He sent a proposal. He said, "Here it is," and the lead said, "Thanks, but this doesn't. I don't remember us discussing what's in this proposal on our call." So the client took the time. The lead client took the time, shared all this information, which could have led to a very robust, solutions-oriented proposal. And instead, what happened, because of Raphael's lack of time and resources, he sent a pretty cookie cutter template type of proposal to this lead, not specifically addressing their pains, not specifically addressing how to solve them, but rather one size fits all. And one size fits all can kind of work to a certain extent, but if you as an agency want to really optimize your business, have a higher closure rate for leads, and have more successful businesses, then you need to communicate with the client, the lead, and address their needs and really listen to them and show that you're listening to them. And that didn't happen here. And unfortunately, this is relatively common, again, because of lack of resources. And so the lead kind of fizzled out. And also what happened here was that Rafael, again, he's not a salesperson necessarily. He's a web creator. That's what he's in it to do. He's amazing at building websites. So he didn't follow up, which a lot of agency owners are uncomfortable about. They don't want to like bother the lead, but like you need to follow up to increase your chances of winning the lead. But again, if you're not a salesperson and your time and resources are limited, then it's this can often happen. And then a really good warm lead came through and was lost, unfortunately. So what can we learn? Due to lack of time, Rafael sent a template. It didn't address the needs. He didn't follow up, even though a week had gone by. There's nothing wrong with following up, but lack of time, lack of sales, I don't know, training. While Rafael had a potential client with high intent, and this deal had a lot of revenue potential, this lead was lost. The time, resources, it's very hard to do everything well. It is, but then an agency really has challenges scaling because of this. So yeah, this is a common story.
100%. As the audience can probably hear, we're not criticizing. We come with a lot of empathy. We're aware of these problems, and we believe there is a solution for them. And let's assume for a moment that Rafael would have been a part of the movement of the agency of tomorrow, and he would have the proper tools. So let's imagine that for a second and see a flow of what could have potentially happened. So imagine Rafael would go on a call with his potential client with AI in the background, eavesdropping, documenting all the important key points from that conversation, and basically keeping them backstage for the conversation when the conversation would end. And then later on, the AI agent, that same AI agent, processes the information and basically transcribing it, putting it in a different format. Let me skip back. Putting it in a different format, and very intuitively reaching out to the same web creator, which we will see in a moment. Following your chat with the client, I made a proposal ready for you. And all the web creator has to do is go into that proposal, go over it, make sure the details match, that they're fine, and he can very intuitively and easily share it with the potential customer. And AI will do everything afterwards, including the follow-ups. All the small details that sometimes we don't feel comfortable until that client has signed the deal and we're good to go. This is how we envision the agency of tomorrow, and this is some of the processes that Suite is working on for web creators. So what we add here actually is, as a dissection of the process, we had a discovery call where the AI agent was taking notes, identifying pain points, and creating a client brief, making sure that the client's needs are fulfilled, created a proposal. So the sales agent, in this case, prepares a proposal and contacts the web creator, letting them know that it's ready and they can go over it. And then the hands-free agentic follow-up that makes sure that that same prospect notices the proposal and gives some type of a reaction. And later on, the client hopefully signs the offer, timeline is auto-filled, and basically a kickstart or kickoff is set in the calendar, and everything is done autonomously. And that's it. So just to give you a bit of a context and to summarize, the agency of tomorrow is you, powered by AI. And we divide it into two main buckets. One of them, the way we see it, is the strategic partner, the one that helps you grow your revenue, provides industry benchmark recommendations for every business action that you take, and tracks and monitors your revenue for you according to your goals. On the other hand, we have the operational partner, which is the marketing agent, the sales agent, and the support agent, all of them working for you 24 hours while you sleep to make sure that the work is done. And also under the operational partner, the seamless end-to-end processes. So it's not a CRM. You're not working for it. It works for you. And with a click of a button, we predict that processes would start at one end and finish automatically at the other side. And there is a streamlined project flow. So all the processes that today you feel that might have been stuck for some time, we believe they would be automated seamlessly. So a few takeaways before we finish. So for years now, agencies have been struggling with managing and scaling their business efficiently due to lack of time and lack of resources. We totally understand that. And basically, AI will revolutionize how agencies are managed and operated. And we at Suite are excited to be obviously a part of this movement. And that's it. We invite you to become the agency of tomorrow. And if you would like to participate in early access of some of our models and features, please feel free to scan this QR code or enter this link to fill up a form. And we promise to contact you.
I just want to add one more thing just to wrap it up. So Suite is coming to address the needs of agencies after us feeling these pain points ourselves and a lot of research. But as you've learned during this entire event, there's a lot of interesting AI tools that you can already test yourselves for your agencies to try to automate parts of it. And we highly encourage you to do that. The only way to learn AI is to get your hands dirty, and there's a lot of exciting things you can do with it. So test those out. And we'd love to see you testing a Suite as well. So we wish you all lots of scaling and sustainability in your agency businesses.
Yep.
Well, that was very insightful, Miriam and Oz. Thank you so much for that amazing presentation. Let's move on to some of the questions that we have on the chat. I can see the first one in the Q&A section. Let me pin it on screen. So any recommendations for a good AI meeting note tracker? Understand that people may be using Gemini if they're on Google Meet, but any other tools that you would recommend as a good AI note taker?
So
Sorry, Miriam.
I'll just mention the one that I think a lot of people use, which is Fireflies. It's really annoying that it always is trying to join meetings, but on the other hand, the notes that it takes are really useful because it gives you the output in a few digestible ways. You have the whole transcript, you have the whole audio, you also have digestible bullet points and takeaways. So there's one. I personally prefer using Gemini because, like we were talking about here, like too many tools is too much stuff to handle. If we're already using, Google Suite, G Suite, the workspace for everything that we do, it's just great to have it all integrated right there. And the notes are, attached to the meeting and easily accessible within our team and easily shareable with others. Let's say we're meeting with outside, partners or whatever. So that's just how I see it. Do you want to share any tools?
Again, I'm sure a lot of them are great. I can recommend Fathom for recording such conversations. But again, there are a lot of AI tools there, such as you mentioned. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good ones out there. Just try it out and see which one works for you. But you don't even have to try that many. Try one or two and you're good.
All right, thank you for that response. We have a question on Suite. In fact, so Nicholas asked that is Suite made or owned by Elementor? Is it like invoicing automation? I think if you can give a short brief on what basically Suite is, so our audience can know better.
Yeah, 100%. So Suite basically is aimed to cover all business processes of web creators, start to finish, if you think of a funnel. and we will gradually solve with models each one of these aspects. So for example, proposal building is something we're about to release very soon. It's revolutionary, one of a kind, that really helps you build the best proposal according to the client's goals and your goals. This is just one example, but we plan on expanding to payments, to invoicing, project management, everything that web creators are dealing with. We are about to tackle it.
All right, Miriam, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think Oz described it very well.
All right, let's go through the chat once more to see if there are any comments. I think rather than questions, people have left comments. Ted says that they use Otter for notes.
Also
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And I think Barzag is in the chat, if I'm not wrong. He's engaging with the audience. So,
He's lurking.
hey, Bar. Yeah, hey, Bar, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you're fine. We definitely missed you, but yeah, thank you so much for being on the chat. I think this is pretty much it from this session. Blake says that I use ClickUp's new note taker, and he says that it's sweet. So yeah, maybe we can try that out as well. So Miriam, thank you so much for being here again for our agency advantage. Oz, it was a pleasure having you for this session. I think it was extremely insightful, and we will definitely have a recording of the session available for our viewers who missed this out. As for you folks, I would recommend not going anywhere, because in just about a couple of minutes we will be back with a very interesting activity. It's a quiz on AI or not AI. So you will be given or shown different images, videos, audios on your screen, and you will have to determine if they are AI or not AI. So don't go anywhere. We have that on queue for you guys. And yeah, but last time, thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you, Oz. Have a nice day. And
Thank
as
you
for
so
you
Thank
much.
you.
folks, we will be
Thanks for
back
having us.
in about 5 minutes.
Thank you so much.